My name is Riley. I am 28 years old and I live in Austin, Texas. I never thought I would wake up in a quiet hospital room with metal braces on my legs and only the sound of a machine beeping next to me. But even worse than the pain in my body was a message I heard on my phone. It was from my mom. She said, "Hi, sweetheart. Your dad and I are at the airport. We are flying to Italy with Connor. The doctor said you will be in the hospital for a while, so there is not much we can do. Do not call us, it is too expensive. Get better soon. Oh, and thanks for the credit card. I used it to buy our tickets. Bye." I stared at my phone. My hands were shaking. Not from pain, but because my heart felt crushed. Just 2 days before that, I was in a car crash. A truck ran a red light and hit me as I was driving home after work. I do not remember the crash or the ambulance. I only remember the lights in the surgery room and the cold oxygen mask. I was asleep for almost 3 days. When I woke up, my whole body felt broken. My legs were held in place by long metal rods. I had trouble breathing. The doctor said I would need at least 4 months to walk again. I would also need a lot of physical therapy. I asked the nurse where my parents were. She looked unsure. She said, "They came by while you were still asleep. They did not leave a message. We tried calling, but we could not reach them." I tried calling too. 3 times. No one answered. The next morning, I found my mom's voicemail. Her voice was happy and light, like everything was okay. But it cut through me like a knife. My brother Connor had always been treated like something special. He did not finish school, still lived at home at 25, and played video games all day. He was starting a business using the money I sent every month. I worked hard as a software engineer. I made my own money since I was 21. I helped pay my parents' bills, their car, and even my dad's golf club. But now they were in Italy, eating fancy pasta and drinking wine with the money from the credit card I gave them. And I was here in pain alone. I could still hear their laughter in the voicemail. My mom laughed. Connor laughed. I looked away so the nurses would not see me cry. But inside, I felt something break. When Dr. Clara came in to check on me, I could not hold back anymore. I cried hard and said softly, "They went to Italy. They left me here." She sat beside me and said, "I have been a doctor for 18 years. I have seen many families. Some stay with their loved ones every day. Some visit once and leave. But going to Europe right after their daughter nearly died? I have never seen that." I gave a dry laugh and said, "They think I will be fine because nurses are here to take care of me. They say there is nothing else they can do." The room felt heavy. I did not feel the pain in my legs anymore. Just a heavy sadness in my chest. I heard a nurse outside the door say, "She's awake." I brought her breakfast. I wiped my face and turned away. I did not want anyone to see me like that. But deep down, I knew one thing very clearly. I had been hurt, not by the accident, but by the people I used to call my family. To others, my family looked kind and perfect. My dad, James, was a school principal. My mom, Lorraine, ran a flower shop. They were always smiling, always helping at events, always at church. And me? I was the helpful daughter. I made dinner when Mom was busy, did my homework quietly, and never complained when Connor got special treatment. I still remember my 16th birthday. Mom promised to take me to my favorite restaurant. I dressed up and waited for 2 hours. Then she texted, "Sorry, Connor has a game. I cannot miss it." I ate instant noodles alone. I had even bought a small cake for myself. I knew no one else would do it. Connor was tall, handsome, good at basketball, and bad at everything else. He dropped out of school, changed girlfriends often, and said college was not the right place for him. My parents always said he was just trying to find his path. I got a full scholarship to a top college. Mom once said, "Of course you did well. But I worry more about your brother." Dad told people, "My daughter works for a big company now." But he missed my graduation because Connor lost his keys and Dad had to drive to get him. I stopped expecting anything. No one came to my award ceremonies. No one picked me up after surgery. I took pictures of Connor getting medals and looked at them alone later on my phone. After I moved to Austin, I paid for everything on my own. I still sent $2, $000 home every month. For their car, for house bills, for Dad's medicine, even for Connor's business. The first time I sent money, Mom cried and said, "No one has helped me like you." Thank you. I believed her. But later, every call was a new request. The shop was slow. Connor needed a camera. Dad missed his golf game. I kept sending money. I even made an Excel sheet to track it. House, car, Connor, emergencies. I called one column temporary, but it never went away. One time when I visited home, I saw a huge new TV with surround sound. Connor said, "Look what your money bought." Our home theater. I smiled a little, holding the couch arm tight. At that time, I was still using an old laptop from Craigslist. The night before the accident, I did something I had never done before. I called and said, "I need to stop sending so much. I am saving to buy a house. I cannot keep doing this forever." Mom was silent for a few seconds. Then she started crying. Dad grabbed the phone. His voice was sharp. When I told my parents I needed to cut back the money I was sending, my dad got angry. He said, "What kind of person are you? We raised you for over 20 years, and now you just walk away when we need help." Connor did not say anything. He only sent a head-shaking emoji. I ended the call. I felt empty, but also a little free. For the first time, I thought maybe I had set a real boundary. But just 2 weeks later, I was lying still in a hospital bed, and they were enjoying wine in front of a famous church in Italy. I found an old photo Mom posted online. It showed 3 plane tickets. They had planned this trip for weeks. They knew they were going. And as always, I was the last one thought about. That morning, Nurse Riley brought my breakfast. She smiled gently and said, "You cannot choose the family you are born into, but you can choose where you belong." I looked out the window. It had started to rain. And for the first time in my life, I knew deep inside, I could never go back to what I once called home. Not after everything. I started sending money to my parents when I was 24. I had just been promoted at my job in a fast-growing tech company. My salary sounded big, but I never used it to enjoy life. I just felt I owed my parents for everything they had done for me. At first, the help made sense. They needed to fix the roof after a storm. It cost over $12,000. Mom cried on the phone, saying she might have to close her flower shop if I had not helped. The next month, I paid for their health insurance because Dad had retired early and lost his coverage. But after that, the help became constant. I cannot even remember when it changed from just this once to every month. Maybe it was when the air conditioner broke, or when Connor needed money to start a new online business. I opened a separate bank account and set it to send $3,000 a month to my parents, $1,500 to Connor, and $200 extra for any surprise costs. But even when nothing unexpected happened, they still spent it all. One month, I got a credit card bill with a charge from a car dealership. My parents had made a down payment for a brand new white SUV. Mom said it was a reward for all their hard work. I never agreed to that, but she told me, "You live in the city. You don't need a car." "We do, so we can visit your grandma." I did not know what to say. I just paid the $12,000 to avoid losing the deposit. Connor kept changing his business ideas. I never saw him make any real money. One time I asked about the $2,000 I sent for his startup. He just shrugged and said, "Are you helping me or trying to be my accountant?" Startups lose money at first. When I asked Mom why their bills were $2,000 higher that month, she said, "Your dad joined a premium golf club by mistake, and now they will not cancel it. But he deserves it. He has so few joys in life." I heard that line so many times. He deserves it. They used it when they built a pool in the backyard. When they bought new speakers for the living room. When Connor upgraded his gaming computer and called it a tool for work. I kept track of all the money in a spreadsheet. I listed every dollar. $1, $500 for house bills, $1, for the car, $2, $500 for living costs, $500 for Connor's marketing course, and all kinds of random things. Repairs, new furniture, and even dog food for a small purebred puppy they adopted and named Biscuit. Some months I sent more than $9,000. When I said maybe we could pause some spending so I could save for my own home, Mom sighed and said, "Your dad has high blood pressure. Talking about this might upset him." Dad sent a text right after, "If you do not want to help anymore, just say it. No need for excuses." Meanwhile, I was still living in a tiny rented apartment, barely big enough for one person. My fridge was usually empty because I was too tired to cook after work. I said no to every hangout with coworkers because I was afraid of spending money that might mess up the family budget. One day, my best friend from college, Skylar, came to visit. She saw the spreadsheet on my laptop. She looked at the numbers, then asked me quietly, "If you got really sick, what do you think your family would do?" I laughed a little and said, "They'd care. I'm still their daughter, right?" She didn't reply. She just closed my laptop gently and looked at me with sad eyes. One day, I was sitting in the car in front of my parents' house. The engine was off, but I kept my hands on the steering wheel for 10 minutes. Through the window, I saw my mom cooking dinner. Connor was playing video games with his feet on the table. I took a deep breath and went inside. I said, "I need to talk." My dad looked up from his newspaper and asked, "What is it? Another expense?" I said, "No. The opposite. I want to cut back. I cannot keep sending $8,000 every month. I need to save for my own future. I will still help, but more reasonably. In 3 months, I will cut it in half. After that, I will help only with real needs." My mom put down the pan and turned to me. At first, she said nothing. Then she cried. "You don't love us anymore, Riley." I felt a lump in my throat. I had expected this, but it still hurt. "It is not about love," I said. But she stopped me. "When you were little, I skipped lunch just to buy you gym clothes. Your dad drove hours to bring you home for the holidays. Now that you're successful, you want to stop being our daughter." "Let her speak," Dad said, but he would not look at me. He was gripping his mug hard. Connor stood up from the couch, still wearing his headphones. He said, "You're the kind of person who kicks down the ladder after climbing it." I looked at him. "You do nothing. You do not work. You do not study. You do not pay any bills. I cannot keep taking care of you." Connor shouted, "I'm your brother. You once said family comes first. What now? Does your money matter more than us?" My dad stood up and said, "You live alone in the city. You earn a lot. No family, no kids. Why are you worried about money? Or are you just planning to buy a fancy house and forget about us?" "That's not true," I said. I almost begged. "I just want to feel safe with money. I only keep enough for rent and food. The rest goes to this house. I'm tired." My mom sat in a chair and covered her face. Her voice was shaking. "You're this family's only hope, Riley." When I told them I wanted to reduce the money I was sending, my dad looked at me with disappointment. His voice was cold when he said, "If you stop helping us now, it is like pushing your own mother into a hole." "Fine. Cut it all. Keep your money. Go build your dream castle. It does not matter if your mom can survive or not." Connor slammed his door and shouted, "Don't call us when you need help." I stood there in the living room, frozen. No one looked at me. No one asked why I was tired all the time. Why I skipped vacations. Why I was scared I would not have enough money. No one asked if I felt alone. All they did was blame me for wanting to keep a little part of what I worked so hard for. I walked out without eating. I said nothing else. As I closed the car door, I looked back at the house. Through the kitchen window, I saw my mom wiping her tears and then picking up her phone. I could not tell if she was texting someone or checking my bank account. I started the car. My chest felt lighter, but it was not peace. I did not cry, but inside I felt empty, like a forest after a fire. The trees were still standing, but they had no leaves. Then my phone buzzed. It was a message from Mom. She said, "I'm sorry if I hurt you, but if you think money brings peace, then you don't understand what family means." I put the phone on the seat beside me. I did not open the message again. I did not reply. That night, for the first time, I did not check the family bank account. It was also the first night I thought about 2 words, cutting ties. 5 days after the accident, I was finally allowed to sit up in bed. My lower body was still numb, but my mind felt clearer. I realized I was lying here alone. My parents and brother were probably having fun somewhere in Europe. I opened my phone. In the voicemail folder, I found a message from my mom. She said, "We are at the airport now. About to fly to Florence with Connor. Don't call. The phone bill is too high. I know you will be okay. Since you will be in the hospital for a while, we decided to enjoy summer break." "Oh, your credit card still works. I used it to buy the tickets. Thanks. Bye." That message hit me hard. They had not just left me. They had used my money to do it. I opened my banking app. My hands shook as I typed in the password. Each transaction felt like a slap. On June 11th, just 2 days after my accident, there was a payment of over $15,000. It said, "Italy tour for 3 people, with a business class upgrade." While I was lying unconscious in a hospital bed, they were planning luxury flights. But it did not stop there. There was also $750 at a fancy clothing store. $920 to rent scooters in Florence. Over $100 at a rooftop restaurant. They never called to check on me. Never asked if it was okay to use my card. I searched for my mom's name on Facebook. I found a photo she had posted only to her close friends. The 3 of them were smiling, holding ice cream in front of a beautiful church. The caption said, "A well-deserved vacation after years of sacrifice. Thank you, Florence." Connor had left a comment, "Thanks to the Bank of Riley for funding our soul-healing journey." And he added a laughing emoji and a heart. I bit my lip until it bled. I kept scrolling and found an old message in the family group chat. It said, "As long as Riley doesn't cut this month's payment, our trip is safe. A farewell summer gift." They had planned all of it. When I said I needed to save money, they were not sad. They were scared it would mess up their Italy vacation. Nurse Riley walked into my room with a food tray. She stopped when she saw my pale face. "What's wrong?" she asked gently. I did not say anything. I just showed her a photo of my mom trying on Gucci sunglasses. The caption said, "Worth every penny of my daughter's money." Riley sat on the edge of my bed. "They used your money," she said softly. I nodded. Then I whispered, "I am lying here with broken bones and bleeding inside. The doctors are not sure if I will ever walk again. And they're out there eating pasta while I cannot even go to the bathroom by myself." My voice shook. I could barely breathe. Riley held my hand. She did not say anything, but her quiet presence said more than words. I tried to stop the tears, but I could not. They came, not from pain, but from everything I had just realized. The family I believed in, the love I worked for, all of it was gone in just a few minutes of scrolling through bank charges. No one had forced me to give this much. I chose to. I thought if I gave enough, they would love me like they loved Connor. But now I saw the truth. I was not their daughter. I was their most trusted bank account. I thought the rest of my time in the hospital would be quiet and lonely. But the empty space my family left behind was not empty for long. One by one, new people filled it. Riley, my nurse, was the first. She did not just ask if I was okay because she had to. She asked because she cared. She told me stories from her time as a nurse in the military. She said she had seen a lot of pain, and that emotional pain lasts longer than physical wounds. She told me I was hurting in both ways. Riley started bringing me small things. A cup of homemade tea. A lip balm that did not smell like chemicals. One day, she brought me a worn-out book, To Kill a Mockingbird. She said it helped her through hard times. I read every word like it was written just for me. Then there was Dr. Martinez, my main doctor. She was kind and warm, and she started visiting me even when she was not on duty. One day, she brought me corn cakes her mom had made and said, "For my most special patient." My roommate was Miss Eleanor, 65 years old. She had hurt her hip in a fall. At first, she seemed quiet and distant. She wore sunglasses and listened to opera. But on my 3rd night, I cried. She took off her headphones and asked gently, "Do you want someone to sit with you?" After that, every day, she sat beside me as I tried to stand. She held a small stopwatch and counted how long I could stay up. She always said, "Every step is a win." No one can take that from you. Even Leroy, the janitor with silver hair, came every morning with a smile. He always asked, "Did Nurse Riley win today?" Then he would sneak a mint onto my tray like he was giving a gift to a queen. They did not owe me anything. But they showed up, one by one, like the universe was trying to show me I was still worth caring for. A week later, Riley came in and placed a card on my table. It said, "Family isn't blood. Family is who stays when you fall apart." Below it were handwritten names: Riley, Eleanor, Dr. Martinez, Leroy. I touched the card. My heartbeat finally slowed down. That night, I opened my phone again. No messages from Mom. No missed calls from Dad or Connor. But I did not expect any. Instead, I texted Riley, "Will there be chamomile tea tomorrow? I think I'm addicted." A minute later, she replied, bringing ginger cookies too. "You might fall apart, but your taste buds never do." I smiled. And this time, it felt real. For the first time in many weeks, my smile felt real. It was not fake. I looked up at the hospital ceiling. It no longer felt cold. Because now I knew I was not alone. Sometimes, family is not who you are born to. Sometimes, it is the people who show up when everything falls apart. At 4 a.m., I woke up in pain. My hip ached badly. But this time, I did not press the pain medicine button. I turned on the small light beside me and opened my laptop. I did not want to feel numb anymore. I wanted to feel everything: the pain, the heartbreak, and the fire slowly growing in my chest. I was ready to take my life back. I called Ava, a financial advisor Riley had told me about. She used to work at a big bank. Her voice was sharp but kind. "First," she said, "you need full control over your money." "Who has access?" I told her, "My mom and Connor." She asked if they had legal power over my money. I said, "No, I just gave them my passwords to help with bills." Ava said, "Good. That means we can act fast." In 3 hours, we shut down all my old bank accounts. We opened 3 new ones with better security. Every password was changed for my banks, payment apps, even my crypto wallets. I called the credit card company. I listed all the charges from the last 45 days and asked for the card to be frozen. I filed a report saying they had used it without my permission for their Italy trip. "Will they be investigated?" I asked the agent on the phone, my voice shaking. "Yes," she said. "With the proof you've given, this could go to the police if needed." I took a deep breath and moved on. I called every service that was in my name but was for the house back in San Antonio. The power, the internet, the car insurance, even the health plans. I canceled everything. Then I called the car company. I had taken loans to buy 2 cars, one for Dad, one for Connor. I asked if they could take them back. "Are they in your name?" they asked. "Yes," I said. "Only mine. I want to end all ties." Each phone call felt like cutting a rope that had held me down for years. And with every cut, I felt more free. By noon, Riley walked into my hospital room with 2 cups of peppermint tea. She looked surprised to see me still up, typing on my laptop. "Planning a war?" she joked. I smiled softly. "No, I'm taking back my land." But I was not done yet. I used an old email account my mom once accessed and found their airline booking. 3 round-trip tickets from Florence to Dallas, in business class. I called the airline and canceled them. I asked for a refund to be sent to my new account. "Do you want to leave them stranded?" the airline agent asked gently. "No," I said. "I just want them to pay for themselves for once." Later that day, Riley called her brother, Derek. He had an old truck. We planned a short trip back to the house in San Antonio. The hospital said I could leave for a few hours if I had help. I sat in a wheelchair holding a printed list. Things that were mine and still inside that house: my college savings book, my birth certificate, my grandma's necklace, some old family photos, and the first drawing I made at age 10. My mom once said it was useless. I still kept it. The house was not locked. The cameras were off. I used my old key and went in. I felt like a visitor. I only took what was mine. Riley had printed the list, and we checked off each item, one by one. Derek gasped when he saw Connor's new gaming setup, still in the box, with a sticky note that read, "Paid with Riley's card." I did not break anything. I did not yell. I did not leave anger behind. I just wrote a note and stuck it on the fridge. "I am no longer your sponsor. Find a new way to live." We left as the sun started to set. No revenge. Just truth. Just freedom. At 2 a.m., I knew they were back. My phone rang. It said, "Mom." I had not blocked her number, only watched from afar. I did not pick up. Then came the messages from Mom, Dad, and Connor. First, they were angry. "You think this is funny? We are stuck at the airport. Our cards won't work. How dare you?" Then came threats. "You cut us off. That's the end. We will never forgive you. We'll sue you." Then came guilt, the kind they always used. "Your mom's blood pressure went up. She cried in Florence. Connor has no car or place to stay now." I moved all their messages into a separate folder. I did not answer. 3 days later, the hospital front desk told me 3 people had shown up asking for Riley Whitaker. No flowers. No appointment. And I just smiled to myself. I looked over at Riley sitting beside my hospital bed. She had been reading, but when she saw me watching, she closed her book and asked softly, "Do you want me to stay?" I nodded. "You're the only family I have left." Just then, my parents walked into the room. Their faces were red with anger. Connor came in behind them, still sunburned, like he had just come straight from the beach. They all froze when they saw Riley sitting next to me. Calm. Like she belonged there. Mom was the first to speak. "Do you even understand what you've done? You left us in the middle of our trip, embarrassed us in front of our friends, and took family money." I looked at her without fear this time. My voice was steady. "No, I didn't take family money. I only took back what was mine." Dad slammed his hand against the window. "You're acting like a stranger. No warning, no phone call. You just threw us out on the street." "It's not the same," I said. "You still have a home. Just not one I'm paying for anymore." Connor snapped. "You ruined everything. If you didn't want to help me, fine. But you took the car. What do you want me to do? Walk." "You're 25, Connor," I replied. "You can work. You can buy your own car. I don't owe you a sandwich, let alone a sedan." Mom started to cry, not from pain, but from guilt. I had seen that same trick before. I used to call it her emotional weapon. "I don't understand," she said through tears. "I love you, Riley. Families are supposed to lean on each other. How can you treat me like this?" I leaned over and handed my dad an envelope I had prepared earlier. "These are the conditions if you still want to be in my life." He opened it and read the simple list. "No more money. Only contact me if I agree first. If you break these rules, I will cut contact forever." Dad's face twisted. "Is this some kind of contract?" "No," I said. "It's a boundary." Mom crumpled the paper in her hand. "I won't sign this. I won't accept it. You are no daughter of mine." Connor threw the car key card onto the table. "Go live with your nurse then." And just like that, they left. Slammed the door so hard the vase beside me shook. I let out a long breath, not from pain, but relief. Riley sat beside me again. She didn't speak. She just held my hand tightly. "You okay?" she asked gently. I nodded. "Yes." They don't control anything anymore. For the first time ever, I get to choose. 3 weeks later, I was finally released from the hospital. Riley picked me up in her brother's old SUV. The trunk was packed with soft blankets, a back pillow, and a little sign that said, "Riley's New Journey." I moved into Eleanor's apartment, the kind older lady I had shared a hospital room with. She only asked for a tiny rent, just to make it official. Every morning, Riley drove me to physical therapy. Every night, I sat by the window and read quietly, learning to live again, learning to stop checking my old family's bank account and start focusing on my own life. One evening, Riley asked me, "If you could go back in time, would you change anything?" I shook my head. "No, because if none of this had happened, I would not know what home really means." She smiled and whispered, "Then welcome home. This story, my story, shows that love does not mean giving everything until there is nothing left. Some families take advantage of the ones who care the most. They turn kindness into a tool. But when we stand up, when we say no more, that is not being selfish. That is called healing. Because sometimes, family is not the one you are born into. Sometimes, real family is made from the people who show up, care for you, and never expect anything in return.